Nobody did anything to you, honey.
I don't care. Miss
Nobody
Holman do nothing to me, but I don't like you.
Okay.
Stop talking to me then.
Nobody do owe my mom an apology, though. That's when you owe one.
No, excuse me.
You know you slept with somebody else.
Miss Hooker.
Miss Hooker.
No.
Sometimes guests on paternity court are just too much, even for the no-nonsense Judge Lake. When that happens, it's time to call in the cavalry. We start off with a woman named Cheryl Rubin, who says the defendant, Mr. Davis, is her dad, but he's been denying it for years. Cheryl explains that Mr. Davis always treated her differently from her siblings, showering them with gifts and love, while she got nothing.
Mr. Davis, you claim you have legitimate reasons to deny paternity and claim to be a good man with grave concerns for the Rubins' well-being. All right, Ms. Rubin, when did the defendant start denying he was your father?
He always denied me. He always treated me differently. I just feel like he never treated me fair with my brother and sister.
Mr. Davis tries to justify his actions, claiming Cheryl's mom slept around before they got together, so he doubted the paternity of all 3 kids. But the judge shuts that down real quick, reminding him that he was still in a relationship with the mom, so he can't just blame her for everything.
I mean, we all his kids. Why he just won't do for her, but do for us?
And you noticed this. You could see this as a child.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Davis, is this true?
Yes, it is.
It is?
It is.
That's a shame.
And
Okay.
I'll tell you why, Your Honor.
Yes, please.
The reason why I treated Cheryl the way I treated her, because her mother slept around.
You was a liar.
Your mother did sleep. Okay, first of all, neither one of you all was in there when it started, okay?
Things really start to heat up when Cheryl's brother, Jonathan, takes the stand. He's clearly upset, saying he's surprised to hear about this DNA test after 27 years. Jonathan calls out Mr. Davis for not being there for them, even when they tried to include him in their lives.
Whether you ever were in all of their lives as a father. Were you ever just there?
No. Were you talking to me?
I was talking to you.
Then shut up.
Now you
No.
You shut up.
Mr. Davis, first of all, I control this courtroom. Now you can take it to the street and you'll be out on the street, because we're not gonna act a fool in here. Now you came to get some answers?
Then Mr. Davis's wife, Carlita, drops a bombshell. She says the child support payments are constantly being taken from their paychecks, and they can never keep that money for their own family. Wow, talk about a messy situation.
If she wasn't your child, if she was your enemy's child, you should have brought her something, because she's a child. That's what I want you to try to explain to this court.
As I said before, their mother slept around. She slept
Okay.
around. When we first got together, when I first met her, she was working at a restaurant. That's when I first started her.
The bailiff quickly stepped in, sensing the situation was about to escalate, and boy was he right. Jerome, the bailiff, had to intervene and bring back some order, putting his hands up to calm the tension. He warned both parties about having any outbursts in the courtroom.
Right, after my first child, like I said, when I met her, and she had 3 kids before I met her.
That has nothing to do with what's going on now.
While we was having a relationship, I don't believe I believe the judge was talking to me.
Why make broken promises then?
Okay,
Why sit right there and act like everything
that's on me.
cool?
That's
like
on me.
graduation.
I own that.
I
That's on
told
me.
you. I said,
Can I answer your question? Can I answer your question?
You can see the raw emotion pouring out of Cheryl as she confronts Mr. Davis. She's clearly been carrying this pain for years, and it all comes spilling out. The way she calls him out for not treating her the same as her siblings is heartbreaking.
Disease in the family. Mr. Davis?
Okay, here's what I mean by the disease in the family. I want my kids, if they are my kids, I want them to be protected. But I at least want them to know exactly what could be coming their way, okay? I lost my father to prostate cancer. I lost my mother to sepsis.
So there are various illnesses in your family, and you are concerned.
I'm concerned for my kids because, like I said, my daddy died of prostate cancer. But he treated them like I'm treating them. He treated me the same way.
But the real kicker comes when the DNA results are revealed. With so much tension and chaos, it's hard to see Cheryl and Mr. Davis ever getting along again. But with a little kid in the middle of all this, they may have to. Let's find out.
In the case of Cheryl Rubin, this court has determined that you are her father.
You already knew that.
What up? Child support, here I come.
I don't worry about it. Come with it.
Yeah.
It's continuing. They ain't stopped yet, so why should it stop now?
You're doing this, and I want you to do this.
Miss Baker is a grieving mother who's here to represent her deceased son, Keyshawn. Apparently, Keyshawn had doubts about being the father of Kanya, the 10-month-old daughter of Coates Hooker. Miss Hooker is here claiming Keyshawn is the dad, but Miss Baker ain't having it. This is gonna be a messy one, folks.
Ms. Hooker, you are here with your mother because you say the defendant's son, Mr. Abraham, fathered your 10-month-old daughter, Kanaya. You say that Ms. Baker and her family's public denial of this child has caused you pain, and you are here for an apology and to prove her son is the father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Miss Hooker says Miss Baker's doubts about Kanya's paternity have been really hurtful for her. She's just trying to deal with it, but it's like everyone's looking at her sideways, like she's some kind of outcast. And she's got a point. The baby looks just like her, so what's the problem?
Ms. Hooker, let me ask you, what was your relationship with Keyshawn? Were you boyfriend and girlfriend?
First we was best friends. 6th grade year, we was best friends, and then we started talking. Then we stopped talking. And just like we stopped talking. Then we started going together for a minute, and then like when I got pregnant, it was just like we always talked, but we just stopped going together. But we still talking though, but we just stopped going together. Like we weren't boyfriend and girlfriend.
Okay.
Now, Miss Baker is explaining why Keyshawn had doubts about being the dad. Apparently, he told her that another guy had been messing with Miss Hooker when he wasn't around. Miss Hooker is shutting that down, though, saying there's no way she was sleeping with anyone else.
Why there's doubt that Keyshawn is Kanaya's biological father?
My son was on vacation, and we kept hearing that Denia was pregnant. But then when we finally found out for sure, he told me, he said he wasn't the only boy that had messed with Denia.
Okay.
Miss Baker is trying to defend her son, saying Keyshawn only denied the baby when he and Miss Hooker were arguing. But when he was with them, he was all about the baby, holding her and kissing her. That's kind of sweet. Miss Hooker's mom, Miss Bland, is also sticking up for her daughter, saying it's not even Miss Baker who's been the problem. It's her family making Miss Hooker feel like some kind of outcast.
My daughter and my granddaughter does from school, and they had came home like prior months before. They had said she was supposed to be pregnant. And I asked her, I said, do you know anything of your daughter being pregnant? I say, because the girls say they were on the bus, and she's saying she's
gonna
like,
find out what she having tomorrow.
what she's having and what she's gonna name the baby. And she was like, no. So when she got home,
turns out Miss Bland and Miss Baker's family found out about the pregnancy through the grapevine, with some kids on the bus talking about it. And when Miss Hooker confirmed it, Miss Bland says Keyshawn was just really worried and scared, losing a bunch of weight over the whole situation. He wanted to get a DNA test, but tragically, he was shot and killed just a few months after Kanya was born.
Yeah, I'm the one who
and
wrote
that's
the letter.
all I'm concerned with, all this other bickering, and I don't got time for it. Because at the end of the day, this my baby.
Right.
And he gone.
Right.
He not coming back. So all this other extra stuff, I don't got time for it.
And that's exactly why it's so important.
I'm here to do what I promised my son to do.
Now Miss Bland is getting heated, saying she never judged Miss Hooker or her family, and they've always been welcome in her home. She's just here to do what she promised her son, which is get this DNA test done.
Step so far outside, outside the lines that you regret it. Because at this moment, you don't just represent yourself. When you become a mom, you represent your baby.
One of my family members was in the obituary, but my baby one. Y'all can keep my family member out the obituary.
Okay, first of all, slow down, because I want to understand.
Why you tell me?
She said one of her family members was in the obituary.
But there was no mention of Kanaya.
Miss Bland admits she left Kanya out of the obituary because she wasn't sure if the baby was really Keyshawn's. She didn't want to put the baby in there and then have it turn out not to be his, putting her own mom through that. But she says if the test comes back positive, she's going straight back to the funeral home to get a new obituary made with Kanya's name in it.
Called herself helping me, and she was going ahead of me to finish it up, and all three of these people got left out, so it wasn't just Kanaya.
Ms. Bland, did you, and I want to ask you this, did you intentionally leave Kanaya out of that obituary because you knew there was a question surrounding the paternity?
Yes, I did. First of all, let me say this. My mama has a relationship with them. I don't.
The judge is trying to keep a lid on things, but Miss Hooker's mom is getting all riled up, saying Miss Bland owes them an apology. The bailiff's got to step in and calm everyone down before this turns into a full-on brawl. You can feel the tension in the air, folks.
Because there wasn't a blood card available to test the DNA of the deceased Keyshawn Abraham, we performed what is called a DNA test with his surviving parents, Carolyn Baker and Lamont Abraham. With that being said, the results determined if there is a viable relationship between the child.
All right, the moment of truth is here. The DNA results are in, and it turns out Keyshawn is not the father of little Kania. Ouch, that's gotta hurt. Miss Baker is clearly devastated, and the judge is trying to console her, but she's just shutting down, not wanting to hear anything, and it only got worse from there.
The percentage of relatedness between Miss Baker, Mr. Abraham, and Kenaya Abraham is 0%.
And this is why right here.
Miss Baker, are you all right? Do you need to sit down? Do you need to sit down, ma'am?
I don't tell them. They weren't gonna tell me. Sorry, so I'm not telling them nothing.
Do you need to sit down, ma'am?
Nobody did anything to you, honey.
I don't care.
Oof. This paternity court case was a wild ride from start to finish. We got a cousin who's convinced her cousin is being duped, a mom who seems to be hiding something, and a guy who's head over heels for a little girl that might not even be his.
With your cousin to open today's case because he's being lied to and taken advantage of by Ms. McNair. You say he's so blinded by the love that he foolishly signed her child's birth certificate and you don't believe he's the father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Travis, you say you love the defendant's 22-month-old daughter, Mariah, but you now fear she may not be your child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tiara is convinced that her cousin, Travis, is being played by this woman, Sinitra McNair. She says Sinitra got pregnant while Travis was away, and that she's got a bunch of guy friends coming over at all hours. Tiara even showed the judge some surveillance footage she took to try and prove her point. Sinitra, on the other hand, is insisting that she's been faithful, and that Tiara is just trying to stir up trouble.
I do, because I went away 2015 in December, and while I was gone, I actually talked to my cousin Tiara, and she told me that Miss Sinitra was pregnant.
And so while you were away, she told you Ms. McNair had been intimate with other people, cheating.
Yes, Your Honor.
And got pregnant.
Things really start to heat up when the judge brings up the timeline of the pregnancy. Tiara points out that the dates just don't add up. Mariah was born in October, but Travis was away in December. Sinitra tries to explain it away, but the judge is clearly skeptical, and Travis is starting to have some serious doubts about whether this little girl is really his.
Right there, men are dropping her off and picking her up. From my window, you see her getting in cars, going back up to her house, and you see the cars just coming in.
So you can see firsthand her getting in and out of cars.
Are you a stalker? Yes, Your Honor.
And that looked like a pretty good view.
Yes, it is a pretty good view.
Now, Travis is opening up about how much Mariah means to him. He's been there for her since the beginning, even signing the birth certificate. The judge is really trying to get to the bottom of this, but Sinitra is sticking to her story, even saying she's entitled to have guy friends over when Travis is away.
Why is that your business?
Why only men?
Why is it your business?
Why only men, though?
So a friend girl instead of a friend guy she needed to have. Friend guy just means a guy
she
friend.
She has too many friend guys to me.
What you got? What do you have, baby? Mind your business. Find you something to do.
So you say she has a lot of guy friends?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you see them coming in and out?
Yes.
Judge Lake isn't having any of Sinitra's excuses, and she's really pressing her on the timeline. Sinitra tries to claim the birth date is a lie, but the judge is having none of it. You can tell she's starting to lose her patience with all the back and forth.
If Mariah was born in October, you count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That'd be 11 months.
Might as well be a year.
Which means the
you
window
need to mind
of
your business, baby. You need to find you something to do and talk about besides me and my relationship, honey.
You've been pregnant a year though, almost a year.
It just don't add up, Your Honor.
You're right.
When the judge finally reveals the DNA results, it's a total gut punch. Travis is not the father of little Mariah. The look on his face is heartbreaking. You can see the pain and the betrayal written all over it. Sinitra, on the other hand, doesn't seem all that surprised. The judge calls her out, saying she knew all along and let Travis be a father figure to this child for 22 months.
So, Mr. Travis, when you sign this birth certificate, I realize you see a beautiful baby, and even if you're hoping it's yours, that doesn't mean you don't have doubt. Did you have doubt when you signed this birth certificate?
Yes, Your Honor, I would be honest. I had doubt, but I asked Miss Sinitra about it, but she just told me that it's my baby. That's all she kept telling me, that it's my baby.
And he's stupid because he believed her.
As the news sinks in, you can see Travis completely fall apart. The judge tries to comfort him, but you can tell this is a devastating blow. Sinitra, on the other hand, is getting absolutely grilled, and rightfully so. But how much can she take before she falls apart?
Mr. Travis, you are not the father.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I am very, very sorry. I know that is not what you wanted to hear. I'm so sorry.
We've got a love triangle gone wrong with a baby caught in the middle. Miss Holman is convinced that Mr. Drumgold is the father of her 2-month-old daughter, Alani. But Mr. Drumgold is denying it, claiming he knows for a fact that Miss Holman was sleeping with at least 2 other men around the time of conception.
Mr. Drumgold, because you claim he denies fathering your 2-month-old daughter, Alani. You want Mr. Drumgold to step up after today's results, prove what you believe. He is the father. Is that correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Mr. Drumgold, you claim there is no way you are her daughter's father because you know for a fact Miss Holman was sleeping with at least 2 other men at the time of conception.
All right, let's break this down. Apparently, Miss Holman and Mr. Drumgold had a bit of a fling going on. She says he was delicious, and she just had to have him, but it never turned into a real relationship. Meanwhile, Miss Holman was also getting busy with another guy, Mr. Rich.
You feel like he's denying the baby?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you denying this baby?
Yes.
Mr. Drumgold, you are not in any way accepting of Alani?
No, I'm not. It's been incidents that I know and 2 other gentlemen that I know during the time that she supposed to had Alani that she was dealing with.
Oh, can I speak, please?
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
So at the same time, me and Mr. Drumgold were never in a relationship. We have always had an open relationship. The fact that he knew that there was a possibility.
She was upfront with Mr. Drumgold about seeing other people, but he wasn't having it. When Miss Holman told Mr. Drumgold she was pregnant, he immediately had his doubts. He even went to her house and caught another dude rubbing her belly. Ouch, that's gotta hurt.
But he never told me that. Mr. Drumgold was in a so-called relationship with several other people.
So, Mr. Drumgold, how did you find out Miss Holman was pregnant?
She called me one day and she said that she was pregnant, and I think she said she was like 10 weeks. And at the time, I wasn't even in town for 10 weeks. So then she hung up with me, and then she called me back within 5 minutes. Not days later, not weeks later.
Now, Miss Holman is admitting that she was intimate with multiple men during that time, but she's still convinced that Mr. Drumgold is the father. She says the baby looks just like him. Mr. Rich, on the other hand, is feeling betrayed. He thought he was the dad and had already built a bond with the little girl.
And so how do you know she was with other men?
As far
Your Honor, I came to her mother's house and another man was rubbing her belly.
One at a time.
He knew I was dealing with other men because I was very honest with Robert, Mr. Drumgold, up front. I was super honest with him, and I told him, like, I'm doing me, you doing you, because I know how you get down, period. When I was all in for it with him, he was not wanting no parts of me. But parts of me.
All right, but hold on.
Things are really heating up in the courtroom. Mr. Rich is letting it all out, saying he changed his life for this baby and feels like he's been let down. Miss Holman tries to explain that she didn't want to be alone during the pregnancy, so she kind of led Mr. Rich on. Yikes! Mr. Drumgold is also getting riled up, accusing Miss Holman of lying and playing games. The judge has to step in to try and calm everyone down before it turns into a full-blown brawl.
Did you have a sexual relationship with her, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
You do. You did. How did you two meet? Can you explain that to the court?
We met at a party back in 2016. She gave me a lap dance and we ended up having sex.
And how long did the sexual relationship last?
It was off and on. It's been off and on for the last 4 years.
Oh, you're still in a sexual relationship now?
Yes, ma'am.
So Miss Holman is admitting that she didn't really think Mr. Rich was the father, but she let him believe it anyway. She says she knew the real dad was Mr. Drumgold, but she was afraid he would abandon her and the baby. That's a bold move. girl.
I can see that.
I put my time and energy into that little girl.
Yeah.
But I already made up my mind I'm gonna be there for this little girl.
And what does that mean to you, to be a father to this beautiful, innocent little girl? What does it mean?
It means a lot to me. A lot of kids don't get the opportunity to have a good father in their life.
Now, the judge is trying to get to the bottom of this. Apparently, Miss Holman told Mr. Rich that he was the dad, but then later told him he wasn't. And she never even told Mr. Drumgold that he might be the father. What a tangled web she's woven. The judge is getting frustrated, trying to piece together all the different stories.
We know that Miss Holman told you you were the father. Did she tell you, or when did she tell you, if she did, that you weren't? Do you remember that?
I mean, she told me I was the father all the way up to the time we got in the argument and I left. Like 30 minutes later, she texted my phone, said, "Boy, boo, that baby not yours anyway."
Boy, boo.
I remember exactly what the text read.
But wait, there's more. The judge reveals that there's another potential father in the mix, a guy named Mr. Matthews. Miss Holman knew about him, but Mr. Rich didn't. Ooh, oh, this is about to get even messier. The judge wants to hear from Mr. Matthews, so the bailiff goes to fetch him.
Thought you was pregnant by.
I know who I was pregnant by, so shut your mouth.
The person you thought you was pregnant.
Anyway.
Miss Holman, calm down. Mr. Drumgold, calm down. I don't want to start taking this train in the wrong direction. Let's stay where we are because I do want to understand. Your testimony is, Miss Holman, you didn't really think Mr. Rich was Alani's father.
Yes.
After Mr. Matthews' testimony, the drama just keeps escalating. Mr. Rich is really letting Miss Holman have it, saying she's been taking advantage of him all along, and Mr. Drumgold is still convinced that she's been sleeping around. The judge and bailiff are doing their best to keep everyone focused, but these three are really going at it.
Fall back a little bit? Yes, I did.
So once you saw him rubbing her stomach.
Yes, I did.
And then when you reached out to him, did you ever get a response?
No. What I was thinking is she found a way, like she always do, to smooth over her lie. And because that's what she do.
No, that's not what I do.
So who did you think she was lying to?
No, I knew for a fact she was lying to both of us before she even told me that she told him.
Surprise, surprise! We're not done, folks! Ms. Holman had revealed that there were multiple potential fathers for her baby, Alani. Mr. Rich, one of the alleged fathers, was clearly struggling to keep his cool. He seemed furious that Ms. Holman had been intimate with other men during the time of conception.
Mr. Rich,
Go back up.
you came here to get an answer.
I have not called him lately.
I don't care, man.
My phone tells it all.
Shit.
Calm down.
Your Honor,
Calm
that
down.
was a nice speech. That was a nice speech, but that's all it was, a speech.
Sloppy,
if Leanne could have had it her way and now one of us know, we wouldn't be here today.
At the end of the day, you're a liar. I've been telling you this since I was pregnant. I've been telling you I need a DNA test since I was pregnant.
The judge tried to calm Mr. Rich down, reminding him to stay composed and not let his anger get the better of him. She emphasized that they were here to get to the truth, not to point fingers or make accusations. Ms. Holman appeared visibly uncomfortable as the judge pressed her for more details about the other potential fathers.
You think we don't know you are confused and just out there riding on a wing and a prayer? I'm here with you and for you. Mr. Rich, I am so happy you turned around and came back. And I do want you to understand, I know how painful this is for you. I don't want you to get so angry that then you become the person you know you aren't. You have come in here with honor.
Just when things seemed to be spiraling out of control, the judge stepped in and suggested that Mr. Matthews, the other alleged father, come into the courtroom to share his side of the story. As Mr. Matthews took the stand, Mr. Rich struggled to contain his frustration, nearly lashing out before the judge and bailiff quickly intervened.
It came out that there were other possible fathers.
Correct.
Can you tell me about these other possible fathers?
Well, just like with Mr. Rich, I told him I didn't remember whether we were together around the time of September, which was around his birthday time. Mr. Matthews is the same thing. The only difference with this is Mr. Rich knew about him. Mr. Rich did not know about Matthews.
The judge then turned her attention to Mr. Matthews, asking him to describe his relationship with Ms. Holman. Mr. Matthews admitted that he and Ms. Holman had been intimate over the past 4 years, and that he believed he could be the father of Alani. The tension in the room was palpable as the judge tried to navigate this complex situation.
I'm giving you the truth, but you've got to sit through and you've got to listen. We cannot go to a better place.
Man, I
with
could have
any
made a
of this.
list.
Listen, we here now and we're going to get through this. We can't get to the other side. We cannot get get to the other side unless we go through. We're going through. Mr. Matthews, thank you for joining us.
Yes, ma'am.
We've heard significant testimony today as we begin to discuss the paternity of baby Alani.
As the testimony continued, Ms. Holman became increasingly emotional, seemingly overwhelmed by the weight of her actions. The judge, sensing the need for a break, encouraged her to take a moment to compose herself. The courtroom fell silent as Ms. Holman wiped away tears, the gravity of the situation weighing heavily on her.
Mr. Matthews, I'd like to ask you a few questions concerning the nature of your relationship with Ms. Holman. Can you tell the court, how did you meet? How long have you been in a relationship?
Well, I met Mrs. Holman probably about 4 years ago. I met her through Facebook, and we hung out, and we clicked. And then thereafter, we had sexual relationships. On and on.
When did the sexual relationship start?
The judge then turned her attention to Mr. Drumgold, the third alleged father. She asked him about his relationship with Ms. Holman and whether he believed he could be the father of Alani. Mr. Drumgold appeared hesitant, unsure of how to respond. The judge could see the conflict in his eyes, and she urged him to be honest and open about his feelings.
Enter that space where you're so angry because you feel like because she's saying she really believes it's your baby, it's almost as if you are unwilling to hear the true layers within her testimony. That at the end of the day, there is more than one possible father.
No.
So just stop.
Okay.
Stop grasping on to this thing that she believes that Alani's your baby.
As the testimony continued, the judge tried to bring a sense of understanding and compassion to the proceedings. She reminded everyone that this was a difficult and emotional situation, and that they were all here to find the truth and move forward in a positive way. The bailiff kept a close eye on the courtroom, ready to intervene if tensions escalated further.
Because let's be real, this ain't something easy you can just come out and tell somebody. I mean, this is not something easy. I'm not proud of anything that I've done, but at the same time, I'm justified. Because at the end of the day, now one of them was in a relationship with me.
But did you ever stop and think, why is that?
Who are you talking?
That's the thing. How
Miss
you ever stop
Holman,
and think, why?
listen, Miss Holman.
I'm trying to direct my questions to you.
And I'm looking right at you and I'm listening. I want you to know I hear you and I see you and I value you.
Finally, the moment of truth arrived. The judge announced that the DNA test results were in, and she began to read them aloud. 3 potential fathers, 2 intriguing episodes, and 1 set of results. This is the moment we've all been waiting for.
Mr. Rich is not the father. The next result is for Mr. Matthews. Mr. Matthews, you are not the father. These results are for Mr. Drumgold. Mr. Drumgold, you are the father.
Exactly.
Don't go there, Miss Holman. Don't go there.
At the end of the day, I just wanted to know.